Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I know I've been MIA for a while, but we're back, and for this video I'm very excited because we're talking about something that's very dear to my heart. We're going to talk about Downton Abbey and the new movie. I'm going to list some of the things that I think were great and some of the things I think that could have been improved. It's been about a week since I saw the movie. Yes, I saw it last Wednesday at the premiere here in DFW, and it was so great. But there were some things I noticed, and for those who don't know, my name is Ricky, and I have seen Downton Abbey probably over like 10 to 15 times. Like I know all the lines um, of all of the seasons and the movies. Rest in peace, Maggie Smith. So, just to hop right into it, if you haven't seen it, spoilers alert. But I'm gonna go down the list of some of my favorite um, points from the movie. The first point is this movie was Edith's movie. Like Edith did so well in this movie. Like the progression of her character was really well thought out and really well in this movie. And one of my favorite scenes is when she like is at the horse track or whatever it's called, and she is going after the scam artist that's trying to scam Uncle Harold, which we'll get into Uncle Harold later on. But that's one of my favorite scenes because I feel like for the longest they framed Mary as kind of like the Maggie Smith esque or the like the lady like to take over for her grandmother, but we also forget that Edith is also her granddaughter too, so we really got to see that. My second favorite thing was Mr. Barrow and his progression. Like it was great to see that. I'm not gonna lie, the first few seasons I did not like Barrow got on my nerves because I'm like, you just hating for no reason. Well, not for no reason, but you just out here hating everybody. But you really see he's another character that you really see the progression of, and I'm glad that he got his happy ending. And then Mr. Mason winning at the end of the movie was really great because once again another great character progression. Like we got to see him from losing his only son to finding Mrs. Patmore and finding a daughter in Daisy. And you just really see the progression of his character. And then him winning the award at the end was like a check plus. And in addition to this, Daisy character was really great as well. Like, put some respect on Daisy, y'all. We saw her as like a 14-year-old just starting off. She didn't know how to do much, but she's progressed, and she's progressed into what we would call like this modern day woman, which is really great, where she's outspoken, but not too much to where she doesn't see the risk. And it's just really great to see her progression. And Carson was always Carson. And to see him come back, that was also really great in the movie too. Seeing Carson and Mrs. Hughes and seeing him train Andy, and Andy probably, um, or not probably, Andy standing up and being like, "Hey, I'm the butler now." That was really great. And the cinematography. So as always, Downton Abbey has this like warm, comfort, well thought out cinematography style that really makes you like dive deep into the movie and the story and the characters, which was really great. And lastly, Mary hooking up with a stranger is just so Mary-esque. It's kind of like a call out back to the very beginning. If you know, you know, the Turkish ambassador, and it's just like, here she go again. So I thought that was really great to throw in there. Okay, now to the confused. I'm gonna call this confused because it's Downton Abbey. I love Downton Abbey. Of course, we all miss Maggie Smith. I think it really shows the weight that Maggie Smith had in this show and the depth of her characterization and what it brought to the show, because this was the first movie or like first Downton Abbey thing without her. Okay, the first confusion I have is Harold. Like, what in the Herald? Okay, so let's talk about it. Like, first off, we are first introduced to Harold because he got into that whole scheme with the like oil and something about maybe it was a teapot or something like that. Um, and Lord Grantham had to go travel to the U.S. to get him out of it and all this stuff. And then we get introduced to Harold again when they come over from the U.S. for Rose's ball. And the second time we get introduced to Harold, it is well known that he spends all his money on yachts and girls. So I'm just confused that after their mother dies, that Cora is just gonna trust Harold with the estate. And I saw some Reddit posts that kind of went deep into this, that she would just leave it over all to him. Like that's just very confusing because in America, estates are were divided among siblings, no matter the gender. So for Cora to just be like, "Oh, Harold, you take care of it," is really like confusing. even Even if he did get conned out of his money, he wouldn't have the room to get conned out of his money if Cora didn't just leave it to him to manage. Does that make sense? And it would be unlikely that Cora would do that because of what happened in the past. And additionally, they brought up the what is it called, the Donatella, but they sold the Donatella. So for him to say I'm gonna go look at it was confusing because there was a whole season where they were focused on selling the Donatella. I feel like that was put in there just to like create a reason for them to sell Grantham Place or to create some kind of conflict when that really wasn't needed because Cora should have just got her inheritance, which would have secured Downton Abbey for the long run. So I don't know. That didn't make sense. And then the other thing that was confusing was Henry's side piece or side chick being the like. I know that the character couldn't come back or the actor couldn't come back to Downton Abbey, but I feel like could have been a different way for them to write that divorce in and not have it been centered on just like him having like someone else, because the last season focuses so much on Henry and Mary's love and the fact that Henry loves Mary despite of everything else and the same, and then the role that Branson played into that. So it's just weird that they would just write it off that way. And additionally, why would Branson just sell a business that they worked so hard to build just because of all of this? And then additionally, Tom offered or Branson offered to help um, Lord Grantham with the money to help keep Downton going, and he denied it, which would be so weird because like Branson's doing good and he's part of the family, so I feel like he would like take that help. I don't know. And then why was Robert fighting in the end so hard against Mary when at the end of New Era he literally said to Mary, "This is now your time to reign." Like I'm confused why he would just come back yelling and fighting against her, wanting to sell Grantham Place when there was a whole conversation about Grantham Place not really being used that much. So it was just confusing. I feel like they were just trying to add conflict into the movie where I don't know. And then my whole thing is like, also, where's Rosalind? Like, where's their Aunt Rosalind? I get why they probably couldn't bring Rose back, but I'm just wondering where all these characters are that we didn't see. And then lastly, Mr. Mosley. So Mr. Mosley is one of those characters that I feel like, and I found another Reddit post that explained it too, where they kind of just like, I don't know why they do this to Mr. Mosley. Mr. Mosley went from being a footman to being a prominent screenwriter, and his progression in the show, Mr. Mosley was always like a humble figure. So for them to make him in the movie kind of looking down upon other servants was really confusing to me because he's never been that type of character. The only thing, the only time Mr. Mosley kind of was like, I don't know, is when he was a valet and he had to go back to being footman, or a butler slash valet and he had to go back to being footman. But he only helped that disposition because he wanted respect from Mr. Carson, not of his own accord. So to kind of see the progression of Mr. Mosley's characterization being thrown away in this movie and him shaped as this like person that will look down upon his wife because she's a servant would just be so confusing to me because Mr. Mosley would never do that, especially how long he dated or what they call it, courted his wife. So yeah, Miss I feel like Mr. Mosley character did not was not given justice, and they could have fleshed out his character a lot more or just left him to just be writing on his own rather than keep that in there. So yeah, I feel like definitely could have been more to his character. So those are my thoughts on the movie. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. Did you think that they did a good job with the writing, or with the acting is always phenomenal? What were your thoughts on the movie? Do you think we'll get more movies, or do you think this is actually the end? Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, stay tuned for more. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.